and elevated Carnival experience in the years to come. A special thank you goes out to all the booth holders along the Carnival Strip. Your commitment to maintaining a clean and orderly environment has not gone unnoticed. We appreciate your cooperation and community spirit throughout the season. Please remember that the deadline to vacate the Carnival Strip and remove all booths is this coming Sunday, May 11th at 6 p.m. No operations are permitted during this time of removal. This year, we introduced a booth competition with judging criteria, including a compliance with rules and regulations, an aesthetic appeal, and Carnival-themed creativity of the booths. I am proud to announce for the first time that booth 19, Windsor Gardens, emerged as this year's winner. Their vibrant decor and Carnival spirit stood out above the rest. And as a prize, they will receive an automatic spot on the Carnival 2026 strip with their booth fee waived. Booths throughout the village along the strips were exceptionally showcasing their creativity and passion of our people this year. We thank each and every one of you contributing to the Carnival experience. The parades this year were absolutely beautiful. From the vibrant costumes to the high energy performance, they were a true feast for the senses. Congratulations to all troop leaders for your creativity and vision, and to the winning troop, well done. Social media played a major role in amplifying our Carnival this year. We saw a noticeable increase in videos and content featuring St. Martin, including spontaneous promotion from influencers, what I like to call our very own brand ambassadors. Next year, based on this, we aim to better coordinate influencer marketing to encourage the use of official hashtags. This will help us streamline our digital branding and increase global visibility. Hashtags are not just trendy, they are powerful marketing tools. They drive engagement, they organize content, and they make it easier for international audience to discover our events and culture. On a more serious note, the police department reported multiple altercations, and although only 10 arrests were made, which according to them less than last year, for them it was an okay year as compared to last year. But while this is a relatively small number, it's still cause for concern. However, I must make an address about the public intoxication, particularly involving teenagers. I want to appeal to all parents. Please speak to your children about responsible behavior and the importance of safety, both for themselves and others. Our children reflect the values we instill in them. Let's guide them to enjoy our culture responsibly and respectfully. We must work together as a government, parents, schools, and community leaders to protect the next generation and preserve the family-friendly spirit of Carnival. Another area we must improve on is the presence and promotion of new and original music. Yes, coming from me. This year, we saw a noticeable lack of abundance in fresh local tracks. Unfortunately, not enough to support from the local radio stations in pushing the songs that were released. As a result, many of the songs heard during Carnival were not even produced in St. Martin. Even more concerning was the increase in vulgar and obscene language in most of the music played, especially during parades and roads events where children and families were present. Carnival is a national celebration, an official event that welcomes all age groups. We must ensure that music reflects a level of respect, responsibility, and cultural pride. Next year, we will be addressing this issue with clear guidelines and restrictions on lyric content, particularly during family-oriented events. These measures will be included in the upcoming MOU with SCDF. As a government, we are committed to supporting our local artists, songwriters, and producers, and I already have some ideas to jumpstart this initiative, and I'll be sharing more details soon. All in all, Carnival 2025 brought back a wave of nostalgia while also highlighting the strength of the cultural identity. I also, before I close, I also want to thank CoM also for the support and that beautiful video that they made about the boot holders, the history of the boot holders. They brought history back into what Carnival means for us. And as we look ahead to 2026, I encourage all DJs coming back to the music, bands and artists to prioritize local music, elevate our sound, help keep our heritage alive through music. I may just have the platform to make that happen. And if all goes according to plan, something great is coming next year. So stay tuned. Next, I am pleased to announce that the Ministry of TIAT will lead a strategic trade mission to participate in the Agroalimentaria 2025, taking place from May 28 to the 31st in the Dominican Republic. Agroalimentaria is one of the Caribbean's most important trade affairs, offering a platform to connect with suppliers and exporters in the following areas: fresh produce like fruits and vegetables, agri-business products, juices, canned goods, and cigars, industrial goods like textiles, footwear, cement, and traditional crafts like jewelry, woodwork, and handmade items. This mission supports our goal of building economic resilience, especially by exporting alternative suppliers to reduce dependency, mitigating inflation risk and price shocks, and strengthening our local supply chain and food security. Our delegation will include representatives from the Ministry of TIAT, the Chamber of Commerce, the SAD, Social Economic Council, and tentatively, I think MPs from the CAFA committee might be attending, not sure there yet, and some local businesses and food, retail, and logistics and shipping will also be in attendance. We have also been informed that the Dominican government may offer hotel incentives for certain businesses. Interested parties are encouraged to visit the agroalimentaria.com.do. So agroalimentaria.com.do website to consult with incentive brochures for more details on. And also, they can also contact directly our SG, Mr. Miguel De Weaver, via his email. His email is miguel.deweaver@stmartingov.org. So you could either go on the website or contact our SG directly. His email again is miguel.deweaver@stmartingov.org. We would like to have a list of all the businesses that are attending so that we can go as a team. This mission is being organized in collaboration with the Dutch Consulate and the Ambassador of the Dominican Republic. During the Agroalimentaria Trade Show, our focus will be on understanding regional food supply chains, securing fair and stable trade agreements, exploring training and technology partnership, improving logistics for cost-effective imports, and sourcing affordable agricultural supply, and building direct connections between local and regional businesses. And most importantly, ensuring alignment on food safety and import standards. Next, I'd like to announce that we are thrilled that Soul Beach 2025 will be hosted right here in St. Martin from May 21st to the 26th. This event comes at a pivotal moment for our tourism calendar, right when our stayover arrivals usually begin to decline. It offers a unique opportunity to extend the high season and stimulate economic activities well into the summer months. So this is not just about hotel stays. Soul Beach is a ripple effect, and for our entire economy. It brings direct benefits to, like mentioned, hotels and accommodations, restaurants, bars, retail shops, taxi drivers, public transportation, hairdressers, stylists, service providers such as sound guys, cleaning companies, local vendors, DJs. We're expecting over 3,000 international visits, U.S. visits, many of them are high-spending tourists eager to enjoy our island, what our island has to offer. While Soul Beach may not match the size of Carnival in scales, its economic impact is substantial, especially in terms of international visibility and spending power. In fact, while average hotel occupancies around this time of the year typically hovers up between 55 to 60%, I'm proud to report that during the week of May 19th, most top hotels are reporting occupancies of 85% to 100%. That's a clear sign of the festival drawing power. Local talents. This Thursday in the Daily Herald, Out and About, will be featuring 8 amazing local talents who will be taking stage during Soul Beach. And those are Tamilia, G Money, DJ Outcast, King Verse, King James, and DJ Blaze, and I think a few more. So I encourage everyone to look and be proud of all the local artists that's also going to be performing. Let's show our support for local stars. They are sharing the stage with international icons and putting St. Martin talent on full display. If we are looking to ask if you're interested in ticket information, we've made it easier, or they've made it easier and more affordable for the local community this year. To experience Soul Beach. Usually the tickets are $100, but the local tickets are $70 advance purchase. And at the gate, it's going to be $100 for the comedy night and the music night. You can also use your fund miles to purchase tickets, and it's also a few of them are limited, and the time is limited, and the quantity of the $70 tickets are limited. These tickets are available at selected Sol gas stations with fund miles, so you can find it by the Causeway, Cold Bay, Madame Estate, Simpson Bay, Sucker Garden, and then Levi's in Marigot, Tech Up at Carrefour, and Von Dort in Madame Estate. Get your tickets early and take advantage of the local pricing and fund miles options while they last. So rather than walk through the full schedule, here is just a few key events to look forward to. The kickoff party is Wednesday night at the Casino Royale. The day parties are at Mullet Bay and Orient Beach throughout the week. Comedy night is Friday night with featuring Cedric the Entertainer. And the main concert is Saturday night at the Festival Village as well, featuring Charlie Wilson and Mooney Long. And Sunday is Sip, Dip, and Drip, a shopping beach fusion experience on our boardwalk. That's going to be between St. Rose Arcade all the way down to, I think, Seaview Hotel. A slew of local and international DJs on the beach. These events will be held on both the French and the Dutch side and strengthening our cross-border tourism appeal. I want to state that this is the moment to shine. Throughout this week, the eyes of the world, especially media outlets across the U.S., will be focused on our beautiful island. Let's put our best foot forward and welcome our guests with open arms. Let's continue to be gracious hosts, proud ambassadors of our culture, and warm welcome and united. Let's showcase the true spirit of St. Martin, our charm, our hospitality, and the unity of our people. Every dollar government invests in this event will come back many times over in the economic activity, global visibility, and long-term brand value. So let's embrace this opportunity to show the world who we are. And with that, I close and look forward to the questions.
Thank you, Minister Heilige Martin, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Marcelino, to address you. Prime Minister Marcelino, you have the floor.
Dear people of St. Martin, representatives of the media, members of the CoM, Minister, and of course the people of St. Martin, good morning. May 3rd marked 1 year since the first Marcelina cabinet took the oath of office. We have to realize that it is said a year, but we had 2 weeks after the May the 3rd, we had a loss of support in Parliament, and we had a collapse of the first cabinet Marcelina 1. After that, we had election, and on the November the 26th, the people expressed again the mandate for again a Marcelina cabinet. And as of November, we have Cabinet Marcelina 2. We are now busy with actually awaiting a momentum to present our governing program to Parliament, in which each minister will get the opportunity to present the governing program that actually is already published, for them to give some detailed information about the governing program concerning their ministry. Concerning myself as leader of this government and my vision for St. Martin, the following: as Prime Minister, together with the Council of Ministers, it remains my vision to help lay the foundation for a peaceful, a dynamic and productive St. Martin. I repeat, peaceful and productive, because we have been not more accustomed to have peace and stability and productivity of a government. We love the noise, the melee, and this government is proving to want to work different. As Minister of General Affairs, I'm also committed to strengthen and revitalize the government organization that supports ministers and actually our civil servants. This not only includes ensuring fair employment conditions, such as the implementation of a proper cost of living adjustment and increased vacation allowance, but also aiming to foster a positive work environment that supports professional development and re-establish pride in public service. We are working to actually also improve a better work environment. One important tool for achieving a better work environment is the firm application of disciplinary measures, including, of course, what recently has been published, something new, the implementation of the whistleblower policy as advised by the Integrity Chamber. This whistleblower policy will support trust and transparency in the organization, improved organizational image for the outside world, early detection and prevention, identifying and addressing issues before they escalate, consider risk management, identifying systemic issues and thereby discouraging misconduct. Another item is a safe work environment, encouraging openness and accountability and reducing fear of retaliation is very important. Another aspect is the cultural improvement, promoting employee empowerment and accountability. And another option for this whistleblower policy is a operational insight informing better ethics and risk management strategies. Another topic is the National Integrity Assessment. In addition to the whistleblower policy, the government, following consultation with the State Secretary, Mr. Zol Sabo, we initiated a National Integrity Assessment. This comprehensive review will evaluate integrity standards across the public sector. Last week, following an initial brainstorming session, the Integrity Chamber submitted a draft plan of action for this assessment. I will provide a detailed explanation of this objective and scope to Parliament in due course. I also requested the ministers of the different ministries an update of what has been accomplished in the last period of our governing. And if you give me permission, I just would like to make some statements from what has actually been achieved in the period that we have the governing of Cabinet Marcelline. We can start, for example, with AZ, my own ministry. We spoke in the past already of accomplishment like insurance for the VKS. That has never been the case for a country St. Martin. We were busy and we accomplished a financial assistance for burial expenses of civil servants to assist the families. concerning the GB energy crisis. It was really a threatening crisis for country St. Martin. We brought the containers in, the 10 megawatts, the 20 megawatts. We got 40 million US dollars as a support loan for us to put back GEBE on the rails. We have again back grid stability. People forget from where we are coming. It was heavily criticized in the beginning when this government was busy to bring back stability in a very neglected company. And now that we have the grid stability, everybody is forgetting from where we are coming and not acknowledging what has been done by this government. We came with the Carnival Village. You can look at it. Our people were happy to have a great establishment again to enjoy this national festivity for Country St. Martin. We had emergency cars that we gave to the police department, to the ambulance department, and to the fire department. We came in, I remember, in May. One of my first actions was to run to the airport. And I told them we are going to open this airport in November. We forget, and in November this airport was open. We must not forget my baby, the hospital, where it was when I started governing this country. And everybody now is passing by the hospital and seeing a visual significant progress in the construction of our hospital that we are all in need of for this country. As you see, we are already starting, although the limited financial possibilities that we have. We are all involved in the discussions with Minister Avromi to start with the little funds that we have to start improving our roads in St. Martin. These are small things that the AZ is also very involved in. We are working on the implementation of digitalization for the organization of government. We are now busy seeing the misuse and misconduct of cars of government. We have a draft car policy that we are going to work out in the coming months for us to have a better overview of our cars fleet and especially the expenses related to the having of this car fleet. With education, we did something with the FBA review that launched to assess the state of the foundation-based education. The higher education law was approved by Parliament. Internal efficiency survey has been launched at the Ministry of Education. By the Ministry of Finance, we have to recall that we had a few budgets that we approved at the end of 2024. We had to finalize 2024, and we tried and finalized 2025 in January. We started the CC meeting for budget 2025 in December, and we approved it in Parliament in 2025, although we encountered after that technical and legal difficulties for the execution of the budget that will be resolved this month. We worked on the Ministry of Finance to clear the backlog of the tax tables of 2023 and 24. Even we are now so far that we are now busy finalizing the ones of 2024 and 2025. We started already. The basic payment account law is brought to Parliament for approval. We tend to forget all that we are doing for the people of St. Martin. Let's take justice. We initiated, of course, recently the gun buyback program that recently has been implemented. Strengthening police force with 7 new recruits. We opened a new substation in Cole Bay. We improved collaboration with authorities on the northern side of the country. With customs, we earmarked the budget for the acquisition of the Asikuda. We initiated the acquisition of new uniforms and equipment for the customs. We streamlined for immigration the permit process, which will now be complemented by the acquisition of new software to improve service and processing times. Over 2,000 permits have been signed in the past 6 months, significantly reducing the backlog. If we go to the Coast Guard, we are formalizing now the new function book for the Coast Guard. We are implementing new salary scales for the Coast Guard. We are now with the HVP. We are busy finalizing the offers for the prison employees. Just to mention a few. We are with the Prime Minister in the Ministry of Justice together working on collaboration with the French side. For example, now to further work out and work on the treaty that is going to be signed soon between the Netherlands and France concerning the hot pursuit in the bay and in the lagoon between the French and the Dutch side. Though recall also, please, that the Minister of Justice, Mrs. Nathalie Tacklin, was also instrumental in developing the Memorandum of Understanding for Victim Support Service. The ministers also were busy with, the Minister of Justice was also busy with the triangle, the driehoek as they call it in Dutch, between herself, the prosecutor, and the Chief of Police. These are good and strategic good movements to actually improve the quality of justice application for country St. Martin. We have, for example, also for the Minister of Tiat, she's sitting next to me here, but because we are one group sitting together governing this country, we are aware of what the other ministry is doing. I can give you a few. She expanded the airlift to St. Martin. She attracted new airlines, including the inaugural Liat 2020 flight from Antigua to St. Martin. The ministry promoted St. Martin in new source markets, Europe, United Kingdom, Germany, Austria, and Sweden, and state remained focused on South America, US, Canada, and France. The ministry successfully facilitated Carnaval 2025. It went smooth and nice. It's a big organization to keep it a positive festivity and also make sure that everything runs smooth on all levels for the country. She just presented the Soul Beach initiative. We have to find out something to give injection to our economy by sitting and telling that we have to do something for economy, and each initiative being bombarded is going to make it at a certain moment very difficult to govern this country. So initiative also has to be honored with the intention that it's going to generate more income for the coffers of government. The ministry also supported entrepreneurs and vendors, implemented incentives for booth holders, for example. That is something that small things, but all small things contribute to a better economy for the country. We are busy with the Philipsburg revitalization. Don't forget that, but we are busy and more is coming for the revitalization of Philipsburg. And in that way, I can continue giving you more incentives about what all has been done for country St. Martin in a few months since we are governing this country. For the VSA, for example, ministry, we have worked intensively with for the application of the TWA, the TWO. We are working together. We have a project leader, interim head, legislative draftsman is being worked on now. We are working on the big registration that everybody is talking about, the healthcare professional registry. For example, tonight we have already a second round to involve the healthcare workers in the intention of this whole setup of the BIG. We are working aggressively, and we got extra money from the trust fund to work on the mental health care of this country. On social level, for example, we have raised the minimum wage is ultimately raised. Empowering women through sewing projects. We expedited the process for the old age pension, and there is a homeless project 6 months pilot as of April 2025 going on. These are a few of the items, and I can continue. I have the other side also with accomplishment for the Ministry of VSA. And in that way, I can continue giving you examples of things that this government has been doing. The only bad thing that we're doing is we are highlighting the whole day things that we would like to see. But in the meantime, a lot is being done for us to build this nation back to where we all want it to be. I want to now clarify something else, and that is the appointment on C-level of government-owned companies. Of course, everybody the whole day has to criticize, because in this country we have the culture that we have to be negative, we have to be destructive, and we especially have to actually try to create a narrative of the untruth. For example, that this leader that dearly loves this country is not giving locals opportunity to be on C-level of government-owned companies. Let's start with the GEBE. We have decided with GEBE since December 2023, in 2023, January 2024, there was no Cabinet Marcelina, and in that time was decided that we will actually do the recruitment on C-level for GEB through a third independent consultant company, BDO. After we got ourselves in a national energy crisis, I took the initiative to approach them, and that was 6 months later. What about, where are we? And at the end, they presented me the candidates that has independently been selected to accommodate the C-level of GB. Unfortunately, Mr. Washington passed away, but for each candidate, for the CEO, there was a second candidate, not selected by the leader, the Prime Minister Marcelina of the government, presented by the procedure that has been opted for to actually recruit a C-level CEO, and that became a other candidate with a Dutch background. And now the narrative is that the Prime Minister is appointing others than locals for GEBE. Please, people, let's stay realistic with what is going on in this country. Let's go to another one. We're going to go now to the one of the airport. Mr. Cleaver, if we understand corporate governance, we have a holding company. And actually, the holding company is like for GB, like we are shareholders. The holding company is like a shareholder, like for the operational company. In this case, is the holding company, the PGIA holding, is the one that decides who they want to become a C-level executive body for the operational level. So they decide on their own who they're going to appoint as a CEO of the operational company. It's the holding that decides for the operational company, not the government that is at the end the shareholder. The holding company decides, selects, appoints on the level of the operational company, and the holding company informs the shareholding being government about the choice that they have made. We spoke about GB. We spoke now, I just explained how it went with the airport. I want to give you one more, Telem. Let's go. Telem is the same. We came, there was a CEO of Telem. The CEO, his contract finished. It was ready. It was finalized. The LAM has made an agreement for such a period of time. This gentleman would be the CEO of the company. Once the contract is finalized, it's finalized. Nobody broke that contract. We took him in service as the CEO of Telem. He worked out his time, and at a certain moment, it's over, the contract. And then the supervisory board gave the advice that they would like to have a other CEO again for the company. And the government went in agreement with that. So where the narrative is from this leader of this government, with an enormous love for his country and his people, for people to say outside there that this leader is against locals to accommodate C-levels in our government-owned companies. Please, people, let's be realistic with each other. On another note, I would like now to have a final remark. I read with great interest a recent article by Mr. Terence Ray, which reflected on the disappointment, can you imagine, of the government surviving a carnival coup. I have to compliment Mr. Terence Ray for this very good written article, but an article that I think the way he wrote it, I want to thank him because his contribution to awakening the people of St. Martin, how they have to look at politics and government, I think this is starting a new phase for this country. The article's title is Carnival Coup is Cancelled. It states, political peace makes people nervous. Can you imagine? We live now with a Cabinet Marcelina II that is trying to bring peace and rest in this community, and the article states that political peace makes people nervous. I'm impressed with that statement, but it's the truth. Further, it states, no carnival this year, just ministers minding their business. That is exactly what we need in this country now. Not a carnival with restlessness, no, ministers that are just minding their business with their ministry. The article continues, this brings us to a tragedy because there is peace and stability now, and people are not hearing much from government because everybody is just focusing to improve this country. Without a coup, what will historians remember? So they want the action, they want the coup, they want the fighting, otherwise we are not going to be remembered as those that are governing the country. Imagine this article states, wars are remembered, coups are catalogued, but nobody writes about boring bits. Headlines write about the collapse, not about the boring bits. So we do not want a stable, tranquilo government, focused, minding our own business to do what we have to do for the people. We do not want that. I'm asking myself as leader of this country, what then do we want for a government to propel a country? Look at the world history. We remember wars. World War I, World War II. We remember the Gulf War, the Iraq War, the Ukraine War. Nobody remembers peace. Peace is forgettable. Bacchanal becomes in St. Martin legendary. Carnaval makes sense. Why? It is dramatic. I use the word bacchanal, and it's politically a poet. We in St. Martin love chaos. We love politics, the article states, soaked in rum. That is what we like in this country. And it has to be with a twist of betrayal. And then we feel ourselves okay when we look into the significance of politics in this country. The article states, though, but this year we got, instead of bacchanal, is the article, we got competence and we got caution. A very un-St. Martin development. So the conclusion is, so let it be a warning if the current government dares to survive another carnival. That is the conclusion of that article, imagine. So let it be a warning if the current government dares to survive another carnival. We may make history in a wrong way. Imagine, we are so far that now the media outlets are telling us, imagine if this government survives. In that way, we will make wrong history by not being remembered at all. This article suggested that political crises are necessary for governments to be remembered. Can you imagine? That is what we want in this country. While the commentary was amusing, and I do understand it, it was satirical in nature, and I respectful, as I say, disagree. This administration is determined to change that narrative that we are in now. Our goal is to make political stability the norm. We want political stability. That is what we want now in this country, St. Martin. And the people express themselves that they want that too with the last elections. Ensuring continuity in governance for successful administration and focusing on sustainable development and opportunities for our people. Political crisis should be a thing of the past for Kabinet Marcelina too. If and when they do occur, voters must hold those responsible, accountable for those developments. Let this be a new era for St. Martin, in which we will be constructive with each other and working towards propelling prosperity for our people. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister Marcelina, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, May 7, 2025. We now move over to the question and answer session, and Bibi Hot Shah of SMA News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, ministers. My first question to the Minister of TIET, Grisha Heilig Martin. Minister, as the Prime Minister rightly said, 1 year in office, even though there was some hiccups with the fall of government. This government for some month was demissionary and then continued after the election. So there were no actual disruption. What I'd like to ask you is about the marketplace. Vendors of the marketplace have up to today been struggling. The project was supposed to be kicked off from the time you took office. There are constant delays while the vendors continues to struggle. Besides the vendors and what is going on at the marketplace, can you tell us how do you intend to fix this? When is the project going to kick off? When will the vendors be able to take up their spots there? At the same time, Minister, we are going through a sluggish economy. You know what's going on with the economy. You know what's going on with the food cost, the price of food nowadays. How do you intend to tackle some of these issues?
Thank you, Bibi, for your questions. And yes, first and foremost, I want to state to the vendors, my heart truly goes out to them. I'm waiting so long to have this building finalized. A lot of the setbacks were unforeseen. Some are beyond my control, my ministry's control. And recently, we have come to finding a solution for that. As soon this week, I'm about to come to a aha moment to finalize that, and I think I will be making that announcement on a press briefing directly in collaboration with the Minister of Vromi, because that's the ministry that I'm working with to get this realized. I don't want to say much. I just want to wait until this key element is final, and then hopefully before this month is over, we have a positive breakthrough. And I just want to apologize from the bottom of my heart for what they've been enduring for the last couple of months. it's hard. It's very hard to see what they've been going through. I tried my best. I tried my best to bring the bus the bus over to them too. That too, I had to depend on another ministry to I realized that. And yeah, sometimes you have a vision and sometimes things just don't go the way you want it to go, unfortunately. But I will be very open and transparent with the entire situation, what has set us back and everything at a later time. We are also being called to Parliament to address this, so they will have a complete and transparent overview of what took place. So I don't want to divulge much on that. But truly, Bibi, I must say it's breaking my heart that it took so long, because I was there with them for the last 4 years. So I know exactly what they're going through. Regarding your question about the sluggish economy, yeah, we did not foresee this tariff war. But prior to that, we have been working on food security. And that's something that's important across the board. Important to have food security, important to get gardeners into becoming farmers. That's one of the key thing that we've been working on already. In addition to that, the Ministry of General Affairs, TIAT, and Finance has come with a strategic team, task force, that's the name, a strategic task force to combat or to preempt these type of tariff war. I mentioned it earlier, I think in my previous press briefing. It's mainly that we have these three ministries together working on combating it and safeguarding the country, so the people in general. So you will hear more about the task force in a later time as well, but those are the two main elements. And of course, trade, which is one of the traveling to Barbados, traveling to St. Kitts, now close to soon Dominican Republic, establishing the ALF agency, which is the Animal, Livestock and Fishery Agency. That agency will be the one to make these MOUs with these countries. So these are all the different type of avenues that we're looking to combat this tariff war.
Thank you, Minister. At this time, I would like to invite Emma Lee of Island Nature Radio. You have the floor.
Good morning. My question is related to some complaints that I've been hearing. People have contacted our news establishment about noise coming from businesses that are operating in the night. The understanding is that they have a certain sound level that they're supposed to adhere to, and they feel that that sound level is not being adhered to. So what exactly is the responsibility of the Ministry of TIAT, and what can citizens do to actually make a formal complaint, and what will the ministry do in reaction to those complaints?
So can you be specific? Like exactly which company? Please.
It's 721 in Simpson Bay, yes.
Thank you for that. No, I wanted to, because that's the only company we've been receiving complaints from. So we have compiled a report. I'm going to be very open and transparent. We allow them to operate at a specific decibel. Are they maintaining that decibel? Based on some of the reports, no. So we have already compiled a report, and we will be addressing them with one first and final warning. Because I addressed this in writing to them, that you will be receiving your business license, but you must adhere to this, giving all the complaints we received. And now to go back and start a business and do the same, then it's a problem. It's their first and final warning they'll be receiving from the Ministry of an Inspectorate Ministry, a letter from them. So they'll be receiving that very soon. And I can't bring the email to my mind right now, but we have a complaint email that they can send. They can send it to me directly. I've been receiving emails directly from everyone. So it's grisha.heiligert-martin@stmartin.gov.org. You can email me directly, but I think it's also a TIAT at St. Martin. I might be wrong, but a TIAT complaint at I'm gonna have to. I don't have remembered by the off the top of my head, but there's a complaint email as well. But you can also call CAPSM, because they are also diligently giving us reports on all these complaints. So yes, it has our attention. We gave them a fair warning, and a first and final warning letter is coming to them shortly from the ministry to address it.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Emil. I would now like to invite Stephen Cyrilin of PJD2 Radio. You have the floor.
Prime Minister, good morning. Deputy Prime Minister, good morning to you as well. Ms. Roach, good morning. How many questions do we have?
One question.
I haven't seen you in a
Stephen.
while, so question, well, time, but yes, let's see.
The SCA for St. Martin has
Yes.
been a point of discussion for many, many years. Minister, previous governments worked on that. We know the fact that it was said the will is no need to be reinvented, but rather based on the situation in Aruba, follow that same model. Where are you at with the establishing of the STA for St. Martin now?
So in order for us to establish the SCA, we must first establish a foundation, and CoM has recently, about a month ago, approved the establishment of the foundation, and that foundation will now hire someone. I don't want to mention the name yet, because once that person is there, we'll do a whole press briefing on it, but he will be the one that will work on realizing the agency. So the authority. This will take 6 months. It's going to be 6 months. So before this year is over, we're hoping to have our St. Martin Tourism Authority finally realized and operating for 2026.
And when such is established, what becomes of the St. Martin Tourist Association?
The idea is to have the St. Martin, the SCB, act as a regulatory body, training facility, and customer service, and then pull the marketing over to SCA. But that is just the high-level idea, but we will leave it up to the professional to make a decision, because we will leave it up to him to I set up new criteria for how SCB operates and the SCA. But high-level, that's actually the approach for now.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Stephen. We now move on to the second round. Bibi, you have the floor, and kindly indicate which minister.
I'll take the Prime Minister for now because I'm also looking at our time. Prime Minister Marcelina, I have a lot of questions, but I'll stick to one at this moment. What safeguards do you have are going to be putting in place for the library and the Charles Leopold Bell School to ensure that there is local participation? The reason I'm asking you this, Prime Minister, I noticed the NRPB, these advertisements were done under the Ministry of General Affairs. And I'd like to know if the rebuilding of these facilities and schools will also be done under General Affairs, because I'm looking based on their website advertisement. And as you know, most recently, we have had a backlash from local contractors who were claiming that based on the criteria, they could not participate or even been selected. So since now it's directly on the General Affairs, I'd like to know, what are you going to do to ensure that locals can participate in these activities?
I'm doing a lot for that, Mrs. Sean. The first thing is a misunderstanding that General Affairs has the responsibility for the choice of contractors. To be sure and understand what is going on, we got a loan from the Netherlands, and the Netherlands chose to incorporate a third-party body to supervise and do the administration of that loan. And that amount of loan, that grant, that was the one of 550 million. To execute now the plans, we implemented the NRPB. The NRPB is not the one that comes with the procurement to select contractors. That is done by the World Bank. The World Bank comes with the procurement rules, and with that procurement rule, you have the possibility that the level of the requirements are so high that local constructions company cannot adhere to. It is still in hands from the World Bank. It's not our procurement rules. It's from the World Bank. The only thing the World Bank does is say, these are your procurement rules. Go and see who you can get to come do these projects. On the selection on the base of the procurement of the World Bank, these construction companies that applied got the opportunity, and of course the pricing was a choice I understood. The fact that there is a possibility that a Chinese company initially was selected to do it has nothing to do with general affairs and nothing to do with NRPB. People misunderstand it. Now we are going to realize, while we had our question marks of this was the way to do it, but it was a choice of the Netherlands with their donation that had to be supervised by the World Bank. And now we have the consequences of the formula that they have introduced to manage the trust fund grant. But secondly, now the phase that we are in, the first choice of the contractors to execute the construction of the Charles Leopold School, the Marie-Laurent School, and also the library, that contract has been retracted because the system is not working efficiently to guarantee a progress of this process. And that means that everything is going to be put back on bid, and we have opportunity again to apply to see if we can get the opportunity for other contractors to get it. We have different meetings with the World Bank on this, and they have adjusted their procurement regulations that we get the opportunity of enhancing the chance that local contractors can get the possibility to get a contract for the execution of these three projects.
Just a clarification. Can you tell me if the permits from all the ministries were granted for Marie-Laurent School expansion, the ambulance and fire department, and also, what would happen now that these...
No.
So no permits?
No. The permits were not handed over for these projects because it was a foreign company that applied. We started, but there were a lot of hiccups in communication, in understanding how our system worked, that at the end we were very inefficiently busy, and we have to realize that we have till 2028 to make use of this donation so we can continue in this arena with this choice that has been made, and definitively now the contract has been retracted, and we're going to, of course, accelerate the process for a brand new ball game for us to get starting with these projects, especially the two schools and the library for now. You're welcome.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Emil, you have the floor.
Good morning, Prime Minister. I'm going to actually refer back to a question and a response that I posed to you in February of this year regarding cannabis legislation.
Yes.
At that point, you expressed quite some concerns about turning point, our healthcare system, our mental health. But yet, in your governing program, it states that the objective is to establish full cannabis legislation to manage marijuana use, cultivation, and distribution through St. Martin. And at the time, I asked you again, my understanding is that one company has been contracted to develop the legislation and eventually to commercialize the use, the distribution, and sale of marijuana, cannabis in St. Martin. Isn't that a conflict of interest? Isn't that the same as oil companies developing legislation for drilling practices, for example?
The whole development in the world of this introduction of cannabis is a very tedious and challenging process to start with. And I recall that I said it once standing here. The Netherlands is known for their organization. You have to give them credit for that. If this is something that they failed with, is the organization of introduction of cannabis in their country. And until now in the Netherlands, it's not legislated. Remember good what I'm telling you. Cannabis is not legislated in the Netherlands. So realize that good. For us to actually introduce cannabis in this country, I go back to my standpoint that I always had. We have to have a strong community with a strong mental health care organization and institution, with everything that demands the safeguarding of an adequate introduction of cannabis in this country. To be very honest with you, we have so many problems in this country at this particular moment. The question is if this must be a priority, seeing where we are standing at this particular moment with the country. But I'm in a coalition too. It's not me alone. So I have to make settlements when we are making a governing program. So, and that is how democracy works. It's not how the Prime Minister Luc Marcelina works. These are the rules of democracy, and every coalition comes with their input. And as you know, to make a governing program, it's give and take. So at a certain moment, the cannabis is on the governing program. But my responsibility, once being on that program, is if once I have to accept that there is an item of cannabis, I'm going to make sure that this is going to happen in a responsible way. We should not be hypnotized by the money deals of this cannabis introduction. That is where everybody's focusing on. There is a bigger challenge. And I said it in Parliament, amor is verde. Cannabis is verde too, don't forget. And verde is green for those that don't understand Spanish. So I'm very honest in it, and I'm very, very worried with the consequences of introduction of cannabis in a country that is not ready for it. All those guys walking outside there, it's a big influence of cannabis. These guys can be your son. Don't forget it. So let us not be hypnotized by the dollar and then see our sons tomorrow walking like these guys, because these guys can be my son too. And that is the responsibility that I take as a leader of a country, as father of children, that I think if we want to go that route, we have to do it very well thought of and very good organized in a community that can handle the negative consequences of the consumption of cannabis. I'm very honest in that.
So just for clarity, though, has a contract been given out by government to one entity to develop the legislation and as compensation, permission to then commercialize it afterwards?
The contract has been given by the formal government.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Emil. Stephen, you have the final question.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Prime Minister, in outlining the accomplishments of your Cabinet 2 government, you made mention that the Justice Department has worked on the function book for the custom workers. You're also responsible for the fire department.
Yes.
Can you at least tell us as to what's taking place with the fire department personnel function book? And two, the Dutch Prime Minister is to visit St. Martin. I think he's arriving on the 12th of May. Can you set the table for us as to the discussion that is to be had with him?
The 12th of May, about what was it?
The Dutch Prime Minister.
It's coming. Yes. First of all, the fire department also has the right to have a updated function book. There has been, from 10-10-10, a function book. Attempts has been made to do something with that function book. In 2018, Prime Minister Leona Marlin made an agreement that was made to start revising a function book that existed since 10-10-10. And that initiative to revise that function book, can you imagine how long that took? Came and crystallized now under Cabinet Marcelina II, after a few months being in government. Our function book for the department, for the fire department, is connected to the ICT civil servants. It's one function book. That is how I encounter it. There were some remarks from the fire department on the content of the new drafted function book. Seeing the time that took to come to crystallizing a new function book, an agreement was made for us to accept the new function book as it is, not to hamper the ICT one that was also waiting a long time for their function book and in agreement with it. We agree that we're going to accept this function book with the condition that we're going to continue working on the concerns that the fire department had about the function book in its new style. And that is what we're doing now. I had already this week a meeting with the fire department. It was a very constructive meeting, and there are item points that we have to work on, and we set out a timeline and the agenda points for the meeting for us to tackle all the items that the fire department thinks that should be different in the new function book. And that is where we are, and we are busy in a very constructive a negotiation and meeting with the fire department. That is the status of the new function book for the fire department. Pardon? And the PM. The Prime Minister, as you said, is coming the 12th of May. He is going to have a very intense schedule because I think he will visit all the islands, and he has to do that in a few days. I think he's going to do that totally in 5 days. So it's going to be a very intense program. From the part of government, I will have 3 moments with him. I will pick him up by the airport. He will come and visit me one-on-one in my office as Prime Minister to Prime Minister. And then there will be a meeting between the Prime Minister of the Netherlands with the Council of Ministers of St. Martin. These are the 3 official moments of the organization government with the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. And of course, there is an extensive protocol that will be followed about visiting different areas in a rapid time span because of the limited time that he will be in St. Martin.
Thank you, Prime Minister Marcelina. Thank you, members of the media. This does bring us to the end of the question and answer session. Any further questions can be sent to the Minister's Cabinet in writing. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, May 7, 2025. For rebroadcast, tune into stmartingov.org, St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, Tel TV Plus Channel 15, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, and YouTube channel Government of St. Martin. For video on demand, log on to the Government of St. Martin's YouTube channel. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Rolika Roach and wishing you a pleasant day further.